Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video I'll be going through the West Coast versus Melbourne game to end round 10, so the last recap of round 10. And it was kind of a crazy game. No one really saw this coming. I think the odds, or not the odds, the tipping prediction was a 97-3 split in Melbourne's favour. So I don't think many saw this coming from West Coast, and it really shows good signs for West Coast that they are winning games with their sort of veteran presence, as well as Harley Reid doing Harley Reid type stuff. He's really, he really impacts the game and wins a game basically, or impact it so heavily whilst only scoring 82 fantasy points, which just shows how much of an impact per disposal he can have. And I think that is why West Coast are doing so well, is because they're getting impact per disposal type plays, whereas the likes of North Melbourne getting Colby McKerchel probably isn't the biggest impact. I know he's playing in the back line at the moment, but a lot of their guys, Will Phillips, not an impact per possession player, and a lot of their other guys aren't that. So I just think that West Coast have a much better mix, and they have I think I've massively underestimated their climb up the ladders. I think they can now genuinely do a 7 or 8 win season if they have all the right pieces in place. But anyway, that is the before we jump into the video, I should say, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload, and let's get into this recap. So this one's going to be a slightly quicker one, as I'm trying to get it out before the on time in the 12 o'clock window, and we have a good 25 minutes until then, so hopefully it can render in that time. But anyway, Waterman 126, he's been absolutely huge, and it's a weird one because he's a forward, but he's doing so much that he's probably going to end up averaging 90, which is going to be on the cusp of top 6, but I don't know if he's going to be a top 6 forward, just because we've got Zorko, Flanders, Heaney. Fisher's going to score more than him regularly just because of the role, and this is what I was saying in the for those people that are that follow me on Twitter about the post that I made about the mistakes in AF and Supercoach this year, and it is going for players like Waterman because they're scoring well rather than actually looking at the role and saying they're going to consistently score well. Because you look at guys like Hogan, who's had weeks of 40 and weeks of like 120, so he's really been up and down. Darling 111, he was huge. Duggan 110, he's also one that should be now considered in the top 6 defenders, as he is around that marker as well. We sort of thought he was more, or at least I did, I thought he was more a 6 to 8, but it seems like he's getting his hands on the footy more, so he should be probably in that top 6 range. Kelly here, 107, he's just not consistent enough and doesn't have that high banker score to really be able to score well. So yeah, he's one that I think we can give a miss. So I just want to slightly improve this camera. There you go. That should be better. Let me just double check if that live editing on the run, that's fine. There we go. So yeah, and so Kelly, I don't think will ever be a good enough fantasy or Supercoach scorer, just because he doesn't have that high sort of game-breaking 140 in him. It doesn't seem like he's always around that 110. Cripps 105, that was random for him to score that well. Hoff 93, good to see him scoring well, but not fantasy relevant given he's a lockdown defender. McGovern 90, he was pretty good, but I don't know if he's top 6 for fantasy, but I think he's definitely top 6 for Supercoach, just because he is so efficient with his ball use. Harley Reid 82, I traded him out into Supercoach because I wanted to have another guy on the buys rather than Harley Reid, and Harley Reid went like 130 in Supercoach. Jimby 76, Barras 70, Sheed 68, doesn't really make any difference. Williams 67, he actually blanketed Gawn pretty well. Marek 61, Jones 56, Cole 54, Williams 51, Rotham, Chester, Witherden, Hunt, Edwards, DeWall. Then we go to Melbourne, and you got Jack Viney 98, and no hundreds pretty much tell the story. Viney 98, Oliver 94. He looks in pretty good touch, Oliver. He just cannot get the big scores in him. At the moment, a bad second quarter there pretty much denied him from a 110. it would seem. If he gotten a 15 in that quarter, that would have been a 109. Salem 93, Neil Bullen 86, Gawn 86 had a kick or something taken away late because he was on 89. No, tackle taken away and a hit out added late. He just did nothing, which is really disappointing. I thought this was, and it looked as everything pointed towards a pretty positive matchup for him, and with all of the stats that you could include, and sometimes that just doesn't work out, as he had basically an 80. He had averaged against West Coast when he was solo rucking like 107 or something in fantasy and a 130 in Supercoach, and I think he ended up somewhere around that 86 for fantasy, and I don't know what his Supercoach was, but I don't think it was too flash. I think it was 106. So yeah, he was about 20 points short on both departments, which kind of sucks, but that is what it is, and sometimes you cannot, obviously you cannot predict everything to occur. And that's one thing that happened with the likes of Gawn, is he went unders. He went a 109 in Supercoach, so he was only 21 points short on both fantasy and Supercoach when he solo rucks against West Coast. Pickett, Rivers, Petrarca is 73. He's been really up and down, and he's going to be one next year that is going to be so valuable. Like, he is going to be priced at, I think, somewhere around that 92 range. Let me just check this. I think he's going to be priced around 92 at the moment. Obviously, can go 120s. Petrarca here can go 120s, I believe, from here on out, which would be another 13 games times 120. 13 times 120 equals 1560 plus 934. Divide that by 23. If he goes 120s from the here on out, he still averages 108, which is still pretty good. And then I just want to check Oliver here as well. Oliver would be 13 times 120 plus the 847 equals that. And then I just want to see, he hasn't missed a game, has he? No. And then divide that by 23. If Oliver plays out every single game for a 120 from here on out, he still only averages 104. So we're starting to get the point with Oliver that he is going to be so valuable next year. Him, Petrarca, and then you're going to have so many other guys that we could almost create an undervalued team. So obviously not all of them are going to step back up into gear, but you'd have to predict, heavily predict, I would say, that Petrarca and Oliver, given their age and a full preseason, would do very, very close to that 110 mark again. McDonald, Bowie, Fritsch, Sparrow, Billings, Chandler, McVie, McAdam. He came in 50, doesn't really matter. Howes got a little bit more cash, but he didn't really have the game that we thought he could. Petty, Windsor, Weweden, May 26. He really didn't have a good game at all either. Considering he averages 86, for him to only score a 26 really got taken out of the game. Brown, and then Lever also getting concussed, I did think haven't had an impact on the result. He just dove on a ball, and Darling had got his foot to the ball first and concussed Lever. And I think there was something about a knee issue as well for Lever. I don't know exactly, but he is he's out for the foreseeable future. But anyway, that is the video there going through the West Coast versus Melbourne game, and I will see you guys for the fantasy team review for round 10. That'll come out at 1 p.m. So I'll see you guys in that video. Bye, guys.